Today we're going to talk about something that could change your relationship with food forever. That's not some miracle diet or some magic pill. It's a lot more enjoyable and more sustainable. So stick around. We're going to dive into the world of flexible dieting. If this is your first time here, my name is Adam Scott Murad. I'm a certified and registered performance nutritionist and online coach. Let's take a trip down memory lane. I used to think that clean eating was everything when it came to getting in shape. Just in black and white, junk foods versus clean foods. That's literally the way I thought, and that's the way I approached nutrition. And just avoiding certain foods and having a willpower of steel was literally the only way. Does that sound maybe a bit familiar? If it does, you want to stick around. The other day I was working out. I'm getting quite lean now because I'm preparing for a show. So someone comes up to me, I'll call him a gym buddy. Wow, you're looking lean. Did you cut out carbs? I was like, no. Oh, okay, so you're probably eating really clean and, avoiding like junk food. I was like, no, I've actually had dessert most nights. My carbs are pretty high, and I wouldn't say I'm particularly eating clean. He was like, and I was like, yeah, my approach to nutrition is a lot more flexible. And he just kind of looked at me like I was a bit weird and was like, okay. Probably thought I was talking shit, but either way, that's how that went down. Now, I don't want you to think of flexible dieting as a whole pass to eat whatever you want. It's a way of living. I wouldn't even say dieting, a way of living. So let's call it more like flexible nutrition, a way of living that allows you to incorporate the foods you love some of the time while prioritizing nutritious whole foods. It's not like if it fits your macros as IIFYM. It's not like that in the slightest. That's just focused around eating anything, pizzas, whatever it is, as long as it fits your macronutrient allowance. So with flexible dieting, you're able to eat calorie-dense, less nutritious foods some of the time, that you can fit them in, the foods you actually love. And don't get me wrong, you don't have to, but this is an approach that could work well for you and has worked well for me and many other people. There's actually some data to back this up, that flexible dieting performs better than rigid eating in the long run. We want to create an environment where you actually eat a donut, you eat a piece of cake, you eat a pizza, and you don't think that's like the end of your plan. There's no guilt attached to it. It's just part of your plan and part of life. Before someone misquotes me, of course, if you're in a calorie deficit, it doesn't matter what you eat as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you will still lose weight. That's as long as you're actually in a calorie deficit. But we're not just focusing on losing weight, we're focusing on actually improving all aspects of health and making sure you have the energy levels and you look the best you've ever looked. With flexible dieting, macros or macronutrients are used as a guide, not some sort of strict target that you have to hit, like approaches similar to IFYM or just general macro tracking. This actually promotes more flexibility and gives you more of a range with like specific macronutrient targets. The godfather of flexible dieting, Alan Aragon, recommends a diet that includes a wide range of foods to ensure you hit all your nutrients. This method is not only focused on macronutrient balance, it's also focused on micronutrients too. Eating plenty of fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, those are all going to be important for your overall health to help you feel the best and not just look the best. To be successful with flexible dieting, it's useful to know more than just the macronutrient content of food, to know which foods are more satiating, which foods contain more fiber, leaner sources of protein versus like fattier sources of protein, and just general better food swaps. This is going to make it a lot easier to stick to the plan, make sure you're actually fuller from your meals, decreasing the chances of overeating. One of the more well-known principles behind flexible dieting is the 80-20 rule, or some people suggest the 90-10 rule. That means 80% or 90% of your foods coming from single ingredient, nutrient dense whole foods. Then 10 to 20% of your foods coming from more indulgent foods. This promotes flexibility, first of all, obviously, and it also means that you don't feel restricted. For example, let's say you have 2,000 calories a day. 20% is 400 calories, 80% is 1,600. So 1,600 calories of that day dedicated to nutrient-dense whole foods. And then 20% could be like a croissant, so like 400 calories or something similar, or it could be a couple of slices of pizza, whatever you want it to be. But you see where I'm going with this. It doesn't have to be exactly like this over a day. It could be like this over a week. It could be like this over a couple of days. As you adopt this more flexible approach, it's useful to tune into how you feel about certain foods. How does a specific meal or food make you feel? How satisfying is it? How energized does it make you feel? With this level of awareness, you can start tailoring your nutrition plan to suit you a lot better. You may find specific foods fill you a lot more than other foods, and you may want to include them more often than not. You may want to create some loose templates. Like instead of following like a rigid meal plan, maybe you'll have like a loose meal plan or some sort of food swap guide where you have, let's say, breakfast laid out and you have multiple options for breakfast that contain the same calories, or it could be multiple options for the same food. Like let's say overnight oats with just different toppings to suit different days. Over time, you want to learn to gauge portion sizes by hunger rather than some sort of strict like tracking. You want to be more flexible with them. This can take time to like occur. It's like a more intuitive approach to eating. You will likely have to track for a period of time to be able to be good at this. No one's intuitive off the bat. Anyway, most people are not intuitive off the bat. Flexible dieting can reduce diet-related stress, so it reduces the psychological burden associated with dieting, that feeling of anxiety and guilt, and labeling foods like good and bad. It's also a lot more social. You can go out to eat, you can enjoy the foods you love, you can learn how to actually go out to eat and still get the results you want. So there's no more like turning down meals. There's no more turning down dessert at certain meals. It's just about managing your nutrition in such a way you're still able to fit these meals out. You're still able to maybe go for a couple of drinks if that's what you want. Remember, flexible dieting is not about adhering to specific macros or labeling foods good and bad. It's about building nutritional habits, building in that decision process within you to actually make better decisions most of the time. It's not about fitting foods into your macros, it's more about fitting foods into your life and actually enjoying it and getting the results you want at the same time. My signature program, the Strategic Body Blueprint, focuses all around like building flexibility into your training program and your nutrition program. One of the key principles I use when coaching anyone is actual flexible dieting, because it's something I do myself and I've done for years. I've got many people significant results with flexible dieting, and it's not about getting the results once, it's about keeping those results and being able to live the life you want to live, enjoy food and still stay lean. If you're interested in working with me on a one-to-one basis, just fill out the application form below and let's chat. Have the best day ever, and we'll talk soon.